How's it going, everybody? Hi, Geezer and Donald and Dominic and Blake and Stefan. I've been celebrating. Hi, now, Shed. Uh, so we're been watching chick flicks with my wife. Hey, Mark. it's Mother's Day, so I was watching an old Betty Davis movie. It was actually quite good. Uh, hey, Dwayne, how's it going, Eddie? Hi, Clyde, how you doing? Oh, mm. oh, yesterday was the strangest day. Hi, Tim, how are you? Um, yesterday was very strange. with our, we had like a looked like a snow tornado. Really, very strange. It was on May 9th, and they were getting snow. It was weird though. It looked more like a tornado than snow. I didn't even know it was snow. It looked like a bunch of, like, wind was whipping everything around, and leaves and stuff, and it was full of snow at the same time. I guess it was sort of a snow squall or something. Today has been beautiful. Hi, Hans. Which Betty Davis film was it? It's called The Old Maid, and it was actually, I was surprised how good it was. It was really quite good. What do you think of uh, Holloman watches? Apparently, he doesn't even use a CSC machine. Some of the a CNC machine. A lot of these guys don't use it. A lot of real handmade ones. Uh, is this you're talking about beat, right? It's probably not pronounced that way, but Biet uh, Holloman, is that who you're talking about? No, I said his stuff is fabulous. That's all I gotta say. I haven't, but he doesn't do very much. It doesn't seem, or either that his things are sold before he even starts working on them. But he's like really something. Perfect spring weather here. Overcast skies are keeping it from getting hot. Well, yeah, those are good days. I like going for a walk on days like that. Today is so we've had such up and down weather, and we're definitely off for a walk. The thing is when we have to watch out for other people, but we're doing it. I've been using the ultrasonic cleaner a lot. Okay, Eddie, uh, we're gonna send you the ultrasonic cleaner. Um, hey Lee, how are you? Mark, up to 98 now. That's getting hot. That's out. You're out by Sacramento, right? Yes, independent watchmaker. Yeah, now sure. He's one of these. I don't know. It seemed like right around the turn of the century. And when I say the turn of the century, I mean right around 2000. There seemed to be a group of guys that came along. He was one of them, along with F.P. Jorn, Kerry Wooten um, uh, Michel Parmigiani. All these guys sort of came around at the same time. I think the Gronfeld brothers, and they just have been doing really fantastic stuff. But he did a a resonance watch. Um, Holdeman did, and he's quite good. But you rarely see his stuff. He didn't. Very few, I think, of these independent watchmakers went and did some things that I thought were really fantastic. There was a watch I was looking at today that came up by Hermes, and it was I forgot the name of it. Oh yeah, Slim de Hermes GMT. So I was reading about it, and they had the Caliber, which is Washer, because they own 25% of Washer, and they refer to it as Hermes manufacturer, which is sort of true, I guess. But that's okay since Vashur is so good. But they said, oh yeah, by the way, too, the GMT uh, function with a real thin GMT function works was by Aganor, and that really surprised me. This is a $20,000 watch, and you're getting a lot of watch for that. So that one I thought was quite interesting and very surprising. I had no idea that Hermes was doing things with Alganor. I think that a lot of companies that you know there's they're starting to get the credit. They had been doing all of this stuff, and nobody ever paid that much. Well, they did in one way because in 2012, um, Jean-Marc Viderec, the head of Aganor, won the first Watchmaker of the Year award from the Grand Prix. Other people who've won it, I think, is Philippe Dufour. They gave it to, I think, George Daniels got it as well. Um, Casper something or other, the woman who really revolutionized a lot of watchmaking at Cartier got one too, and they had it's sort of an interesting award that they have. I haven't I'm surprised that FP Journe hasn't gotten it or Curry Root and Lana. And I don't know how that thing works, but out of the blue, it's starting in 2012. They said, we better give this guy an award. And I'm not sure what he had done before that, but apparently, whatever it was very impressive. And if we got our mitts on one of those, that would be so cool. We'll see what happens. Um, it helped get dried up grease off metal. Oh, okay, that's good. I still have to scrub it off with a brush, but I couldn't do that before the cleaning. Or waiting for a special cleaning fluid before I can do that. Very cool. I found a peach on your peach tree already. Leave where we got a bunch of little bitty cherries on our Bing cherry tree, but it seems by the time, for some reason, that cherry tree is covered with blossoms and all these little cherries, and then they all that particular tree doesn't work too well. Then we have this other little cherry tree that has these little bitty cherries, and they're just a little sour, and they're great for making tarts and pies and mixing it up with other fruit to give it a little tang. And starting to see some little on our peach tree. We got just some little ones just getting started, but man, I tell you, my fruit gets eaten up by the critters out here so quickly that what are you going to do? Uh, Hi, Dorbs. How you doing? They Mark. Okay, let's see. Looks more like 30 degrees from the horizontal. Okay, let me see. Um, Central Balance, pure to Central. Oh, Holloman, yeah, his stuff is amazing. Um, don't forget getting a beret is one thing. Knowing how to fit it is another. Oh, good grief! Good grief! I know how to fit a beret. This is how they do it in Bloomfield, so that's all that counts. Okay, let's see. Not so much into tourbillon, but the small second I like a lot. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't know why a tourbillon just doesn't do anything for me. But okay, not so much into Corona hitting. That's not good. Dorbs, where are you? Um, the itsy bitsy cherries are for the birds. Everything is for the birds. They eat our blackberries. They eat everything. Long weekend here in UK, and now running low on drink. That's not good. You get some guard goats. You have ever talked about El Primero? I did not find anything in your videos. There's some stuff there, here and there, goes about El Primero. The El Primero is, I'm really not into chronographs. In fact, I don't even think I have one. The the El Primero is a chronograph, and I'm not into automatics. So the El Primero is an automatic chronograph. It's an important watch, so I think to talk about. It's certainly well known and popular. And what is that? The 7750 is too. What you know? What is it about the El Primero that is so attractive, that makes it such a good chronograph? I don't know. That might be something that'd be fun to find out about it, though. All right, let's see. Hi, Hans. How you doing? Um, I'll wear a U.S. Army style after giving it a good shave. All right. What book have you read that has had the most effect on you? Boy, I don't know. I read so many; they all have some effect for a while. Um, One of my favorite authors, though, is a guy named Charles Willeford, who you've probably never heard of before. And he used to write this pulp fiction back in the 50s, I think, and maybe even the 40s. I don't know. But his something about it. He had one title is one of my favorite titles called "New Hope for the Dead," which I thought was it's I don't know how much influence it had on me. Right now, I'm reading Robinson Crusoe, and that thing is sort of up and down in terms of interesting stuff. I think probably the most interesting things about reading Crusoe was I think it was like written back in 1780s or 1790s, and he's talking about all of the different things that people did back then that they made themselves, and he's uh, apparently had known some of that before he got marooned on that island. He's talking about how we made those and some of the other things. So it's interesting, but doesn't have a lot of influence. Use most of the influence is probably certain academic books that I read when I was in college and afterwards. And there are different ones like in programming. Programming, probably the most influential book I ever read in programming was Design Patterns by what four guys that they referred to as a gang of four, and that thing is really very powerful kind of thinking for that. What else? Oh, anyway, sorry, you shouldn't have asked me that question because that's when I'll go on and on. Hi, Crappy. It was one of the first automatic integrated chronograph movements. Yeah, I know. It was that and that other one, that group of watch companies. They had this big competition, and it was called El. They called it El Primero because they got it out first. But the thing is the more I thought about it, yeah, okay. I guess I should have been more impressed, and I am, and I like the El Primero, but I think the development that has gone into the El Primero since its initial one is probably what the real story or the important story is about that, because they were in a big hurry to get it out before the other one, and they sort of did. Okay. Uh, do you know of any affordable remontoir Egalite? No, I don't. I really don't. The only ones I know, I think um, Alaga may have done one. Oh, I know Langenheim did one. That thing is like $70,000 though. And then of course FP Jorn's Chronomet Optimum is one. Um, Gronfeld, but they only made 188, and those things are all gone and sold. Nothing affordable in that. Well, there's a Remontois. It's not a Remontois Egalite though, but it is one of the little rewinders that's for a constant use. I mean, for a constant charge or force that they use in the Jaja Lecoultre True Second, and that's about as close as I'm going to be able to afford to a Remontois. Um, Sapiens. Okay, now Sid, the better angels of our nature. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Roger or Raj. Have you read Hemingway? Yeah, I've read some Hemingway. Hemingway's stuff. What I like about Hemingway isn't so much reading Hemingway, but what he said about writing. I think that was so important. He said that um, his writing was very sparse. I mean, like just like zoom, 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 like that. And he really, any writing, the secret to good writing is editing, either by the author or actually, I would suppose would be rewriting. And if you rewrite, your stuff will be better and it'll be clearer. That's the whole. I think to me, one of the things that is important in writing isn't sort of some complicated thing, but something that's been uncomplicated and has very sharp things. You know, a good book. It's funny because at Cambridge University, back I think it was probably in the 50s or 60s, there were two great philosophical minds. One was Karl Popper, and the other was Ludwig Wittgenstein, and there was always a big debate over them. And I like both of them. Karl Popper's conjectures and refutations was very just a really good systematic way of doing thinking and doing research. Whereas Wittgenstein's was like, boy, reading Wittgenstein was like climbing an ice mountain. You go up there and I think I got it. Or like reading Nietzsche. So you got these little things, bip, 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 and you're one at a time. And sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But there was a more phenomenological kind of way that Wittgenstein wrote that is closer to reality, I think, than Karl Popper's. Everything is nice and neat and so forth. So, anyway, so much for that. But those kinds of things are interesting. But most of the stuff I like to read for fun is, just fun reading, detective stories and things like that. Um, they're shooting bearded joggers. Yeah, no kidding. Hi, Bruce. How you doing? Um, Big Eric Maria, All Quiet on the Western Front. Yeah, and the Guns of August too by Barbara Tuchman. Both of those are great books about the First World War. Hi, howdy, howdy. Hi, Airtoad. How you doing? The art of writing is rewriting. That's true. Hey, I'll tell you a book that Hi Williams watches. A really good book that I read at one time. Wasn't expecting much out of it. Was called West into the Night by Burl Markham, and most of the flights across the Atlantic back in the 20s was from the U.S. To England or France or Ireland or someplace like that, and that was because they had a tailwind for one thing. And Burl Markham was the first flyer to fly from England. I think it was England, and flew to Newfoundland. And so that was a West into the Night was the name of the book. But boy, her biography itself was just amazing. I read her biography after that, and the way she thought about flying and how she flew and so forth. She just loved flying. It was very good at it, and but she also she was a wild woman. I gotta say, lived. I tell you, one of the interesting things about the former British colonies in Africa, like Kenya and that area that we used to be colonial British Africa. The every weirdo that they had in the that was related to the royal family or some higher up, if they were weird enough, that they'd send them to Africa, and so there's a some of the behavior they had back in the sort of I guess it was sort of post-Victorian age, actually probably during the Victorian age. It was just really these were wild people. Really interesting though. There's a film called White Mischief, and it was it was in Kenya. I don't know. How do we get? Let's talk about watches. Okay, I got Wittgenstein's Poker, the story about a fight that nearly took place between Popper and Wittgenstein. Oh, that would be interesting. It's called Wittgenstein's Poker. Yeah, those two. I you know it, you're supposed to take sides in that debate, and but I actually like both of them. Even though most of my background was more on the phenomenological side, and the I don't know, I had a lot of contradictions in that. Okay, let's see what we're talking about. What's going on? He coached Run for Your Lives, huh? Okay. Let's see. Hi, Stuart. How you doing? Um, the Aviators, like that. Crappy, is it worth reading Le Petit Prince? You know, Crappy, a lot of people I knew liked that. I never really got into it. The guy who wrote it, I can't remember his name, but anyway, that is a lot of people just really were into that. His flying was, he was talking about when there was one little article I read, he shot down a German plane, and he said that it was just flying along fat and happy, wasn't wasn't paying attention to anything, and he just snuck up on it and blew it out of the sky. Later on, he was shot down late in the war, if I remember it right, over France, and the German pilot who shot him down later apologized, which I thought, wait a minute, that it was war anyway. Um, so I tell you, Crappy, why don't you read The Little Prince and tell us about it? Because you know, I had a girlfriend in college, and she just used to love that book all the time. I guess I should have read it, and never did. Um, let's see. Don't do it, Crappy. Okay, Stefan. I saw White Mischief. Charles Dance was in it. Colonial Days in Africa. Yeah, that was, that was a wild time. But in reading Beryl Markham's biography, it described exactly uh, what was. I mean, they were free and wild. Experty, yeah. I no, Stefan, I said that wrong, but let's see, Charles Dance. Okay, I don't remember. I mean, it's been a long time ago. All right. Um, okay, so let's see. What about watches? We're gonna see this. Us Brits were made in those days. Okay. Oh man. Uh, the Any update on the Project Watch? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mark, I'm glad you mentioned it. I was with talking with a morning group. I thought, you know what we ought to do is have a contest. A lot of, I, I'm no artist or anything. I came up with this, but some other possible dials. Why don't we have a contest with it, and I'll and you guys decide the one you like the best, and then we'll probably get somebody who's a pro and do it for it. But that's okay. I've been getting some stuff. Different people have been sending me things. Lee, I think you did, uh, and they were different watch styles and watch hands and so forth, and that we might consider. And so, if we could do that, and you could just I don't know. I was going to make an announcement on the High Horology Lounge. I ought to do that, and then we could do something like that. That might be fun. What programs do I use to make the design? I just use Photoshop. I mean, any other thing requires skill, Mark, which I don't have any. So I just use Photoshop, or I used to use the sort of a light version, photo, and well, I use it to some extent. It's called Photoshop something or other. It stands. What does it stand for anyway? That's what I use. There are a couple. The inexpensive Photoshop that comes with Premiere and a sort of light version of Premiere, a light version of Photoshop. Those are tend to use, but I've been using the professional version of Photoshop. Not that I use it, but I use certain parts of it. WW1 rules of conduct and etiquette between enemy officers at that time had carried over from the 19th century when Jean Renoir's Grand Illusion, 1937. Yeah. Yeah, you're quite crappy. You're quite the movie fan. The sort of historical war movies. The oval with the S looks like the symbol in an Orient Star Watch. Oh man, there's only so many designs. Orient is going to have some, and you're going to see some also. I looks like an Invicta. Let's see what you've got. What I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take every design and jump all over them the same way that everybody else has. I'm not a designer. I told you guys that. Um, but if you're gonna do that, come and get it. All right. I was like, oh, that looks like an Invicta, or that looks like an Orient. What's wrong with you guys? Brigade hands. Okay. We're staying at that. Hi, AP Element. How's it going? Fahrenheit. If you into World War II, World War I, Into the Storm of Steel by Ernst Junger must be read. Okay, Hans. Just wanted to point it out. Oh, come on, Hans. You're in big trouble now. It's 4:51. I'll take a look. um, the There's two movies. There's one of the strangest movies I've ever seen, and I still don't know why I liked it. Was Night Porter, and it was just one of the bizarre ones that came out of that. Put all of the beautiful stuff, crap, I sent you in the trash. No, you said, Lee, the stuff you sent me was pretty interesting. No, I meant to say the version of Photoshop was called Photoshop Elements. That's right, AP. You're absolutely right. Photoshop Premiere and Photoshop's Elements. Um, I should remember it. For some reason, I can't remember Element part of it. But you're right, and it comes in a package. The thing, what Adobe did that I'm not crazy about is that they have this. What do they call it? It's where they have all of the things together. I forgot what it is called, and then you subscribe to it and stuff. I like this. The reason I like Elements, it comes in a box. It comes with for both programs, and it's $100, and that I like. And then every year they come up with a new one, and So Dirk Bogart and Charlotte Rampling. That's it, Hans. Man, you're a movie guy too. That is such a strange movie. Um, Fahrenheit for let's see. Yes, but Rampling is hot. Exactly. SS officer and abusing. Yeah. Well, it's sort of like, uh, I sort of want to avoid that part of it. Interesting to look at watch designs in the 20s and 30s. Yeah, what I like, Lee, about the about that period is that they had some of the best Art Deco in the watch designs. The one that you sent had it had really strange. It had this elaborate hand, and then it had these really cool fonts around it. So anyway, well, listen, it's 4:32 and I've been rambling on about just everything. Sorry, I got so. Some days are like that. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen. Don't forget Mother's Day. If you have already, it's too late for you, but maybe not. Give your mom a call if you can. And anyway, tomorrow is begins a new week, and I'm hoping that sometime next week we'll hear from Aguilar, and it would just be amazingly cool if we got something from them. So, anyway, take care and be safe.